Happy Tuesday, good people. Happy Tuesday. It is wonderful to see you all. Welcome to Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze because oppression is really trying it, y'all. It's been trying it for some time. Capitalism, industrialization, colonialism, all white supremacy. These things have been trying it for some time, but it is really manifesting in a truly obvious, evil, fascist way lately. We've got a good show in store for you tonight, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the program. Thank you to everyone who wished me healthy and recuperative vibrations. I can't believe like we really went a whole week and some change without broadcasting a show. And I have to say, I was truly not feeling good. And big up to Afra really made me question whether or not I truly had the COVID, y'all. I mean, my symptoms were really weird. I had the chills, I had a sporadic cough, I had a runny but not stuffy nose. I was tired. I mean, I've had the flu before. This did not feel like the flu. I had a cold before. This did not feel like a cold. It did not totally knock me out, but I'm at the point now in my life where as a younger woman, feeling the way I felt, I would have attempted to power through, right? Been lots of times that I powered through not feeling well because I wasn't dead, right? Like I was still ambulatory. I could still put together thoughts and sentences, but I wasn't dead. So fuck it. Let me go to work. I'm not doing that now. And I love the shit out of y'all. I love y'all better than any job I have ever had in my life. And I'm still not doing it because I understand the value of rest. And I understand that, acknowledging my body's need for rest is a form of self care, which in itself is revolutionary. And we do revolutionary shit over here as much as we are able to. So thank you all for understanding. Thank you all for, making sure that I was okay and reaching out. And I deeply, deeply appreciate that. You guys are the best. So the show that I'm doing tonight is really a show that I had put together last week because it was y'all didn't know this, but it was a show put together by the Fire Fam. Because I said, well, fuck it, I can't think this week, meaning last week. So I took some story suggestions from Comrade Kwame, from Infinite Content, from Franny French. So I'd like to thank my associate producers for today's program. Appreciate y'all, please, and thank you. And before we even get into the meat of what I want to do story wise tonight, I would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the absence of the Remix Morning Show today on Black Power Media's YouTube channel. And it would seem that on the final day of Black History Month, the tech bros of Google slash YouTube decided to yank a Black Revolutionary channel, not yank the channel per se, but BPM is under a YouTube restriction. And let me say, I don't think that my BPM comrades would have an issue with me talking about this. They tweeted about it. And in part, the content that was flagged was content that I was part of. Okay. So let me back everybody up. This morning I overslept, so I I wasn't going to make the morning show anyway. I woke up at 8:30 like, "Oh shit, I done fucked up." But normally ear doctor would hit me up, be like, "You coming? You up?" It's like it usually reach out. I didn't get no text from ear doctor, and then I popped open my email and I see that Jared had alerted everybody that the channel had received a strike. And along with Jared's email, he accompanied the email sent by YouTube. And what YouTube referenced was election misinformation. Pop up the tweet real quick if you could there for me, Will. Let me tell you, let's put out what BPM did or said rather. So this was from Black Power Media's Twitter page. BPM tweeted this out. What time was that? Damn, Jared must have been up late. He sent this out at 3 a.m. Oh, I bet you Jared was mad at 3 a.m. about this shit too. I don't blame him. BPM tweeted, Black Power Media's YouTube channel has been given a strike due to election misrepresentation and cannot post, publish, or go live for 1 week. We are not clear why and have submitted an appeal. Please stay tuned here and increase your support of our efforts via blackpowermedia.org. And if you have not already visited blackpowermedia.org and followed Black Power Media on other channels, outlets such as Rumble, I encourage you please to do so because the channel is still able to post content. They're just not able to post content on YouTube. And so, like I said, Jared attached the email that YouTube sent. And when I skimmed it, I thought it said something about the 2020 or election specifically. And Jared sent me back the exact quote of the alleged policy that BPM was supposed to have violated. And it said, quote, and I'm reading via text that Dr. Ball sent. He said, this policy currently applies to any past US presidential election, the 2021 German federal election, the 2014, 2018, and 2022 Brazilian presidential election. Keep in mind that this isn't a complete list. That is a direct quote from YouTube's creator content policy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, YouTube and Google are saying you can't say anything about the validity or invalidity of any US presidential election, of any election. Why is that significant? Okay, so in part, and I don't know that this is 100% what has happened. I don't know if this is the exact reason. But last week on the Remix Morning Show, whilst reminiscing about the terrible presidency of George H.W. Bush. I talked about how I watched a lot of W's press conferences after he had been elected, and I said that Bush stole the election. I said it just like that. Um, I I am not sure if that is the comment that got the video yanked or flagged or got the channel a strike. But if it is, it wouldn't shock me if it were. Because, guys, the hour is later than we think. The chilling effects of speech, particularly coming from the left, the actual left, and especially coming from those who are Black and non white on the left, we have seen an increase in the chilling and outright censorship of that kind of speech. And I have to say, if that's the comment, and I hope that was not the comment, and the only reason I think it was the comment is because, guys, y'all know on BPM, do we give a fuck about the 2020 election? Do we talk about so whatever some the election was stolen from? We don't give a fucking shit between Trump and Biden. I think the channel is very clear that there is only stylistic differences between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, absent the issue of abortion. Everything else, US military imperialism, US economic da 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 da. Like there's no difference. We're not rooting for Trump over Biden, Biden over Trump. The 2020 election is not something that we debate, discuss, dissect by and large on Black Power Media. And I can only assume again, and I may be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. But I think that it was my comment, which was not stupid, by the way, that could have been the one that got the channel the strike, which to me is an outrageous kind of thing. And I apologized to Jared. I said, "Man, I am sorry because it's not that I regret what I said because what I said is fact. It is fact, and it's wild to me. And let me say this: so I apologized to Jared, and Jared very revolutionarily did not accept my apology because he said this is bullshit. Like you don't have to apologize for saying that. That it was not a controversial, nor was it a false statement that you made. And if YouTube is going to suspend the channel for that then that reflects more so on YouTube and Google than it does on some commentary on a 23-year-old election, which many people believe was absolutely stolen. And and I am perturbed by this punitive action that YouTube took against Black Power Media because it tells me a couple of things. It tells me that these big tech corporations are very interested in maintaining and upholding the false historical narrative that America is a free and fair democracy and that all our elections are free and fair and no election has been stolen ever and everything is completely legitimate. Well, I'm here to tell you, as an African, as a black person in this country, none of these fucking elections are legitimate, dog. From the first one, start with the first election, where every eligible human in this colony allowed to participate in this quote unquote democracy of liberty and justice for all? No. And even when black people, black Americans were allowed to finally participate in elections, they have always been fraught with intentional challenges and restrictions that other groups do not face simply because America is not interested in the black political participation of us. Okay. They do not want us to vote. And they have made it very clear since 16, whatever the fuck, the 1619 project. They've been, I'm just joking, but they have been very clear about this shit for hundreds of years. So, as far as I'm concerned, as a black person in this country, none of these elections are legitimate. Okay, including Bush Gore, including Trump Biden, including George Washington and whoever his fucking opponent was, including all them chits. Okay. And let's be clear, Bush v. Gore, in the eyes of many legal scholars, was a flawed decision by the Supreme Court. And let me tell you this, Google and YouTube, let that 2000 election, let that election been held and the outcomes have played out the way that they did in America. Let that have been a Venezuela or a Cuba or Russia or China. American press and American State Department would have been bawling all over themselves. Oh, the people of said country have been denied their right to free and fair elections. Their votes were stolen. Their votes were tampered with. You trying to tell me the son of a former U.S. The son of the head of of a U.S. intelligence agency who himself became vice president, who himself became president, who appointed a number of the Supreme Court justices along with his presidential predecessor, Ronald Reagan, appointed a lot of those Supreme Court justices that ruled on Bush v. Gore. And you trying to tell me that shit was legitimate? Get the fuck out of here. Okay. And to be clear, Bush v. Gore was not even the fact that that election was done. That's not even controversial. It's like Al Gore won the popular vote. Al Gore should have won Florida's electoral votes. And this is not even in dispute. But the fact that YouTube/Google potentially could be punishing a channel like Black Power Media for somebody like me even saying such a thing, such an uncontroversial, uncontested thing, because the outcome was written by the winners. History is written by the winners. Bush was declared president, ergo, therefore, he should be the legitimate winner. Fuck that, man. We calling the thing a thing. I'm not playing by these by this American exceptionalism nonsense. I'm not operating under the fallacy and the veil of that this country is equal and just and fair, and our elections and our elections are executed at a high standard that include everyone that is eligible to be included. Like, I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game. And let me back up even for a second here, because let me not make this about me. Really, this is about Black Power Media. This is about trying to silence a channel that is advancing revolutionary thought, speaking to many Black revolutionary leaders of our past, focusing and amplifying their work, their lives, their ongoing struggles, focusing on political prisoners, focusing on Black liberation, not just Black capitalism and Black excellence. No. The work of Black Power Media by the establishment is considered dangerous. And the fact that BPM is gaining more traction in these YouTube streets, I'm sure, is not going unnoticed. Okay. So, in order to take a swipe at the channel, in order to take a swipe at the work that they do, these big tech bros, perhaps urged on by Matt Blumenthal and his like, I'm not putting aside the possibility that the channel got flat out snitched on, that the channel got snitched on because Matt Blumenthal had his ass dragged up and down that remix morning show last week. I'm sure the widow feelings were a little bit hurt behind that shit. And left, right, or center, white folks love to call your boss. If you, as a black person, a Negro, if you have stepped out of line or angered a section of white folks. What do white folks love to do? Love to call customer service, love to call your boss, love to call the police. I'm sorry, this Negro has done something that I disapprove of and that has bothered me. Please come collect them. Please put them in their place. Please punish them. It wouldn't shock me if that Matt Blumenthal shit had something to do with this Black Power Media channel strike, but I think it's actually bigger than that. I think that the work of the channel is so important and it's starting to really open up people's ears, eyes, and minds that the tech bros, likely in collusion with the big state. I'm not trying to get too tinfoil hat here, but we know law enforcement and these tech companies work hand in hand. And shit, I'm extra amped up. I listened to the latest episode of the Alphabet Boys podcast today. I said, "Oh, all the collusion between big tech and law enforcement and the government." And this is COINTELPRO 3.5. This is some COINTELPRO shit. I can feel it. I can feel it. So, what we need to do, guys, is please support Black Power Media in any way that you can. Go buy a t-shirt, run the channel some bucks. I'm pretty sure YouTube will still allow us to send the channel money via super thanks, because of course YouTube takes 30% because they are some pimps out here, but that's a whole nother conversation. But it's important, seriously, to continue to amplify and uplift the work that Black Power Media and everyone associated with the channel does, because if it's pissing off white folks, if it's pissing off tech bros, then you know that the message is the right one. Okay. And I just wanted to apologize to my comrades. Like, if it was indeed my comment that got the strike levied against the channel, you guys know I would never do anything to try to jeopardize the work of the channel. And again, and I feel even bad because if, like I said, Jared told me to keep my apology because it's not my fault, and I appreciate that. But I feel a bit of guilt because something that I said potentially ended up impacting other people. You know what I mean? It ended up impacting the channel, which the work of lots of folks goes into every single week to bring new shows, new content, remix morning shows, and more to the people them. So I feel a little guilty behind that, but I at the end of the day, I know that it is the system that is designed to make sure that the work and the message and the spirit that Black Power Media is communicating across these YouTube streets is stifled, is muted, it is somehow subdued, but we cannot allow that to happen. So I just wanted to speak on that if I could for a moment, because that shit has it really bothered me all day long. It bothered me all it's still bothering me. It really, really got on my nerves. And I said, we are deeper in the fascism than I realized. And I feel like the goofy. Here I am, the naive one, thinking that, oh, we could talk about the 2000 election being stolen, and that's not controversial. Apparently, according to the tech bros, I'm sure many of them motherfuckers was probably born in 2000, so they lack the historical context to really understand what happened in Bush v. Gore. But again, it's not about Bush v. Gore. It's not about my comment. It's about what BPM is out here doing. I know somebody ain't calling me. I'm doing my show right now, man. So anyway, thank you so much. Who just became a member of the channel? I appreciate that. Who is that? Oh, it's my son. It's Tyler. Hold on, Tyler. Mama needs her glasses. Oh, Tyler says, "We love you, Kim. Independent media should not be silenced." 100% right, my son. Look how I raised him. Look at my boy. My boy out here speaking the facts. Thank you, Tyler, so much for that. Um, Really quick, before I get into my first story, we are in the midst of our winter fundraiser. And I wanted to thank the people that have already supported our fundraiser. Put up the fundraiser thingama what's it, Will. Thank you so much. That's a weird picture of me, but it is what it is. So we are trying to raise $1,200, which is about 6 months worth of our expenses. And some of you might say, Kim, what expenses did the channel have? Well, we use the Adobe suite so Will can cut the videos. What else do we do? We have the good strong Wi-Fi going on here. We also use some other shit. I don't fucking know. But it's all legit, y'all. Y'all not paying for me to get my nails done, obviously, because I don't get my nails done. I'm just not that chick. So anyway, hold on. So keep that up there, Will. Let me thank the good people who have already showed up. Timmy Tope, I hope I am pronouncing your name right, sweetheart. Timmy Tope O ran us a super generous Venmo. Thank you so much to Timmy Tope. Thank you so much to Evelyn R for your continued support. Thank you to Melanie E, Tracy H, Christina O, and Christina A. Thank you so much. NFE, thank you for your Cash App support. Quaker Socialist slash Anarchist. Thank you so much, Quaker, for your support. Thank you so much to Nicole H. Renee J. Renee. Thank you so much, sis, for your support to help us keep the lights on. And to our new patrons, thank you so much to Jen J. Thank you going out to Jules P. and to Rashonda and to Windra. Thank you for becoming a new patron. Thank you, Maddie Frank, for your membership today. And let me say this for everyone who is pretty much an ongoing supporter of the channel, and you know who you are: Franny French, Courtney, Latif, Anna Hart, Lorraine Hart. You know who y'all are. Y'all keep y'all money in your pocket because y'all have sent us so much support. So if you are a regular supporter of the channel, let me thank you for your regular ass support that you do absent the fundraising stuff. And I want you guys to just thank you. I just want to acknowledge the people that support us on an ongoing basis. Thank you so much to Dawn. Thank you, Big Teal. Infinite Content, my G. I think you ran us some bucks a second ago and I was too busy yammering to check it out. What's up, Chuck Diesel? Fuck you been at, Chuck Diesel. I don't be seeing you in here enough, Chuck Diesel. I'm glad to see you in here though. And I only cuss at you because I love you, man. If you ever see me and I said fuck you been at, man, that is loaded with affection. Okay, I'm not just cussing at you. I cuss at you because I love you. That's the truth. Shirley, you wanted him too. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody that supports the channel on an ongoing basis, and thank you to the people who have extended their support during our fundraiser. Because I guess the COVID fucking jumped on me last week. I don't know what the hell happened to me, but we are extending the fundraising for another week because I literally started. We started the fundraiser and I gave y'all 0 shows. A terrible fundraiser. I'm a terrible fundraiser out here. So we decided to extend it a little bit longer. So any support that you could give materially, we'll take it. $2 and up, it's whatever. Venmo at BIDWKB, Cash App, $BIDWKB, patreon.com/BIDWKB. You can support us on an ongoing monthly basis. Our tiers begin at $2. The same with our YouTube membership tiers as well. You can also support us via PayPal at paypal.me/BIDWKB. One moment, everybody. I might have the Rona, everybody. This cough has been semi-persistent. This is now week 2 of this. So there's that. So Jesus, the Rona got me. Ain't that a bitch? I'm alive though. I survived it. So that's a step in the right direction. But anyway, let me get into this next story. Sent to me by One Infinite Content. Infinite Content is news. I gotta call Infinite a news shock, dog. You news hound does not accurately describe the level of news engagement that Infinite Content does. And I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it because you keep me up to date of what's going on in Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia. Philadelphia was imperative to my formidable years as a young adult. Thank you, Camille, for your new patronage. We appreciate that. Very kind of you. Philly, I became a woman in Philadelphia. And I love Philly. I just love Philly. I love the shit out of Philly. But anyway, we got some interesting news coming out of Philly because it's so interesting because the cops don't seem to fear their biggest threat. On this program recently, we talked about a couple of cases involving white folks shooting at the police. There was a story here locally to Baltimore County where this white man shot two Baltimore County police detectives, and the police engaged with him. They negotiated with him. They offered him a massage. They said, they'd take him out to eat if he just surrendered. And he did surrender. And he surrendered stunningly alive, super healthy. I don't even think he was beat up. It's just amazing how that happens. And yet, also locally here in Northern Virginia in Fairfax County, James, thank you so much for your Cash App support. Appreciate that, James. Locally here in Fairfax County, Virginia, you guys may have seen this. I think this is a story that may pick up making some national news where I think he was 37-year-old black man was alleged to have stolen a pair of sunglasses from Tyson's Corner Mall. Police chased him into the woods and they ended up shooting him, killing him. This man was unarmed, and the only thing he was accused of was shoplifting. But it's amazing how, when shot at by white people, the police don't seem to fear for their lives and they don't seem to kill those who are shooting at them when they're white. But be black and have allegedly stolen some sunglasses, or be black and be walking down the street, or be black and have your tail light out, or be black and have something hanging from your rearview mirror. Oh, those are grounds for execution on the spot. So let me tell y'all about what happened in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. You guys may have heard this. This did make national news, but this is a wild fucking story. And uh, I, I, I would like to talk about it because it's a wild story. Pop up that Inquirer link if you could for me, Will. Because about 2 weeks ago now, a police officer at Temple University. Temple University is my alma mater. Temple is located in North Philadelphia. And Temple University, like a lot of schools across the country, have their own police force that has full on police powers. They carry guns, they can arrest. It's a real police department, right? And 2 weeks ago, an 18-year-old murdered Temple police officer Christopher Fitzgerald. And the way that this played out was so stunning. The headline here at the Inquirer, and again, this is a bit dated now, but it says 18-year-old will be charged with murder of Temple police officer. Family and colleagues remember Christopher Fitzgerald. And like I said, this young officer was a father, a husband, all the things. But in this instance, it's important that he's police because the person who was accused of killing him, again, is stunningly alive and uninjured. Amazing how that happens. So I want us to cut to, if we could, even though I wrote Cidio there, Will, I'm pretty sure I meant video. But this is going to be a clip where you're going to hear um, the Philadelphia police inspector, the staff inspector, his name is Ernest Ransom, give a press conference sort of surmising some of the details surrounding the murder of this police officer. Guys, okay, again, the person accused of killing this cop is 18 years old. 18 years old. And when you guys hear, I could only describe it as fucking gangster. And I don't mean that in a complimentary way at all. I mean it as extremely cold, very calculating and deliberate, and ultimately violent to no end. Peace, Obioma. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your Cash App support there, Obioma. We appreciate that. Will, let's go to this press conference from this Philadelphia police staff inspector as this person is running down the details of what this 18-year-old is alleged to have done when they supposedly shot and killed Temple University police officer Christopher Fitzgerald. Let's take a look.
What do we know? Officer Fitzgerald was in full uniform in a patrol vehicle when he observed three males on the 1800 block of 1800 block of Montgomery Avenue. There have been a series of robberies and carjackings in the area, and these males were wearing all black and masked up. Officer Fitzgerald attempted to conduct what we call a pedestrian investigation, at which time the males fled on foot. Officer Fitzgerald notified police radio that he was in fact in foot pursuit of these three males. Two of the males hid in the area. The third male, Miles Piefer, was still being pursued by Officer Fitzgerald onto the 1700 block of Montgomery Avenue. Now, so you understand where the 1700 block of Montgomery Avenue is, it's exactly one block from the 22nd Police District. We recovered video from the area, and out of respect for the family, we will not be showing that video. But the video depicts the following. Officer Fitzgerald running behind Miles Piefer. Officer Fitzgerald was able to catch up Mr. Piefer. Then you can hear Officer Fitzgerald say, "Go to the ground." They tussle behind an SUV, which is out of camera view. Piefer then pulls out a handgun and shoots Officer Fitzgerald. You can hear the shots and see the muzzle flash. Bang, bang, bang. When Officer Fitzgerald falls to the ground, Piefer then shoots the officer as he is on the ground, 3 additional shots. Bang, bang, bang. Piefer then motions as if he's going to run away. He stops, he comes back to the officer, and then attempts to remove the officer's handgun, which was unsuccessful. Piefer then runs to the 1800 block of Montgomery Avenue, at which time he carjacks another individual. He is heard on video camera saying, "Give me the car, I will kill you." The pedestrian in this case complied, and Piefer fled in that vehicle. The vehicle was recovered at the 1900 block of North 30th Street, and the scene was processed. So I've been asked questions before. How did we develop a suspect and ultimately arrest Miles Piefer within 12 hours after this incident? The answer was patrol officers, specifically Corporal Brooks, assigned to the 22nd Police District. Corporal Brooks, who was the operation room supervisor that night, as required, had her police radio on, monitoring the airways. When she heard Officer Fitzgerald was in a foot pursuit, she immediately left the building to provide whatever assistance she could provide. Corporal Brooks then heard the gunshots and observed 2 white males fleeing the area. She ordered those males to stop, they complied, and then she detained those males. When Corporal Brooks was informed that an officer was shot and he succumbed to his injury, those males were immediately transported to the homicide unit. Those males were a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old white male. While at the homicide unit, and after getting consent from their parents, the detectives interviewed those males, at which time they provided us information necessary to develop a suspect. The case was then presented to Chief Assistant District Attorney Pescatera, and she approved the arrest warrant for Miles Piefer. And on Sunday, February 19, Miles Piefer was arrested and transported to the homicide unit. Piefer did waive his rights, and he provided us with relevant information that ultimately led to the charges of murder of a law enforcement officer, robbery, possession of an instrument of crime, and disarming law.
Now, I apologize for the lengthy clip there from the Philadelphia police, but I thought a lot of that information was very relevant. 18-year-old Miles Piefer of Bucks County, do I got that right? Infinite Content, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, is I, I think it's safe to call it a wealthy enclave. Yeah, I mean, you got to have a little bit of bread to buy one of them Bucks County farms that Miles Piefer lived on and lived with his parents and his family and grew up on. Guys, this 18-year-old white kid shot this cop in North Philly 6 times. Shot him 6 times. 6 times. went through his pockets after he shot him, carjacked a motorist, and fled the scene. And what they didn't mention here, we're going to hear it in the next clip because again, this is a fascinating story in I guess the ways in which white I don't know. I was gonna say the way in which white folks could do shit and get leave flee the scene without being apprehended. Like, cause I assure you, let that have been the call out, the bolo, to be on the lookout for an 18-year-old black male accused of shooting and murdering a police officer. Every single black male in a 5-mile radius would have been pulled over, stopped, and frisked, but not Miles Piefer. Miles Piefer was able to shoot a police officer 6 times, carjack a motorist, call his mother, call his mother, told his mother where he was. His mother came and picked him up and carried him back home. What? I'm sorry, what? Whose is this? Whose piece is this? This may be Fox 29 Philly. I don't know who this is we're about to see. I think it's Fox 29. The Fox outlet has been very sensational over this, but this is a story worthy of sensation because were the racial dynamics different about Miles Piefer, it would be probably nothing short of a lynch mob beginning to form in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a very racist city. We're going to get into a little bit more of Philadelphia's racism a little bit here in the a little bit later in the program. But I want you guys to hear about the ways that Miles was arrested and the reaction from the Bucks County community to know that there was a cop killer in their midst. Let's take a look at this package.
And meanwhile, we're learning more tonight about the suspect in the shooting. That is 18-year-old Miles Pfeffer. Here's our Hank Flynn.
Yeah, guys, working today and tonight to try to get a clearer picture of exactly who Miles Pfeffer is and how this whole situation came to pass. A number of sources are telling us this is far from the first trouble he's been in.
This is just tragic. The whole thing, I feel so bad for that police officer and his family.
Mimi Lane can't make any sense of it. When she heard that 18-year-old Pfeffer had been arrested at his home on Quarry Lane in Buckingham early Sunday morning and charged with the murder of Temple policeman Christopher Fitzgerald, she thought of another case immediately, that of convicted killer Cosmo DiNardo.
Well, we all thought right away of that case because this kid isn't far from that farm. And that was just so shocking once again. My kids go to Temple.
DiNardo, as you'll remember, is now serving life sentences for murder. Pfeffer, on the other hand, has a track record. A number of sources confirmed that he was charged as a juvenile last year with making terroristic threats against Central Buck South High School in Warrington in November of 2021. Students had to be dismissed early. People are still learning things. Locals react to what they hear.
I was surprised it was so close out here where the family came from. But the thing is, the crime that is in this area goes on, but it's not in the paper and it's not reported.
I dropped a cart off at the farm and was courteously asked to leave. One person did tell me that no one at the farm has slept. Folks there, he said, are crushed by the entire situation. New Hope SPCA confirmed that they helped control dogs while police executed warrants yesterday, but it had no animal complaints about the farm. And there are a number of unconfirmed rumors flying around. I'll spare you. Buckingham town offices were closed today, President's Day, but one Buckingham policeman told me on the phone that this was nothing that anyone on his force could have ever foreseen. And how could they? People who live less than a mile away are still finding out about it today, and they're stunned. In Buckingham, Hank Flynn, Fox 29 News.
I don't know why they are stunned. Y'all, you heard them say that it brought to mind the arrest of Miles Pfeffer. I'm sorry, I'm destroying this person's name, but regardless, reminded them of Cosmo DiNardo. There was a ID or a Discovery series, I think it was about the murdered boys of Bucks County or something to that effect, where basically this white boy killed all of his friends. He just killed all of his friends for reasons. But apparently, where are the fathers? What is going on in these communities that they are breeding So many murderers, so many the depraved individuals. Peyton Genderon, the boy teen race soldier convicted in the top supermarket mass shooting in Buffalo. Another one, privileged as fuck, coming from the suburbs. Nobody questions what the socialization is in these communities that these boys end up becoming these violent menaces to society. Nobody interrogates that the way that they interrogate poor black children. Oh, it's the crime, oh, it's the violence, oh, the parents don't care. Maybe these Bucks County parents also don't care and they leave guns laying around and socialize these kids to believe that the rules don't apply to them. You heard this. Miles Pfeffer reported to have been on juvenile probation at the time of this murder of Officer Christopher Fitzgerald. Allegedly, infinite content. Let me double check with you, my editor. If infinite content, my editor. When the boy was on juvenile probation for threatening to shoot up his high school or to shoot up a school whilst he was a student himself. A documented history of violence, and yet there he was, free as a bird, out committing property crimes in North Philadelphia, and was so emboldened that he would murder a cop. Now, let's be clear here. I mean, we feel how we feel about the police, but from a cerebral perspective, we understand that you murder police, they're going to take that shit rather personally. And I don't know that I can tell you so many people, particularly in this area, maybe about 15, 20 years ago, Prince George's County specifically, and I'm sorry, I'm relying on my very marijuana addled memory here, but in Laurel, there was a Prince George's County police officer who I believe was run over and killed. And the person that they had arrested for killing him somehow ended up dead in jail way before any trial started. Like, this kid ended up dead in jail probably days within this incident. And it was widely known and acknowledged that the police murdered this person in their custody for him allegedly murdering one of them. Police usually don't take too kindly to when other cops get killed. And yet, this is the second incident in as many months where we've seen a white male be treated basically with kid gloves after shooting at or outright murdering a police officer. And the double standard there in treatment it can never be ignored. And anytime anybody would tell you, well, actually, police murder more white people than blah, blah, blah. Well, then why is it that these cops are so fearful for their life when it comes to black folks making routine, usual human movements? 2 weeks ago on the show, we talked about the man in Southeast Washington, Stephen Shaw, shot in the stomach because he didn't fit the description of a suspect and he refused to get out of the passenger seat of a parked car because he knew he didn't do nothing wrong. And in an effort to show their dominance on the streets, Metropolitan Police shot this man in the stomach. Thankfully, Mr. Shaw survived. But how was it that Mr. Shaw got shot and he did absolutely nothing wrong? And yet Miles Pfeffer murdered somebody and got to go home, got to get picked up by his mother. Infinite Content, I saw you in the chat. You said that the other kids that was with Miles are going to be facing some charges as well. And I believe that those are teens, and at least one of those people were related to him, his brother, I believe. But the real question is somebody going to charge the mama? Because it, in what world does your child murder somebody, carjack another, you come and pick them up, and that's not accessory after the fact? How is that not accessory after the fact? That's accessory after the fact all day. And if this was a black family, that black mother would already be charged with something. Has they been charged? Is Infinite still in here? Fact check me, Infinite. Fact check me, Infinite. I just like to point out these examples for people who perhaps disbelieve or are still somehow holding on to the fallacy that everybody is treated equally in America. They aren't. Cop killers are not treated equally. People who mean the police absolutely no harm end up getting murdered, and people who mean the police all the harm are usually taken alive and allowed for their due process to go its cycle, right? It's for their day in court to come about. White cop killers get that day in court. Black people who have committed no crime, who are not the person that you're looking for, who justifiably do not want to comply with orders to get out of the car or to submit to some sort of physical search, because we understand how quickly the police will escalate a situation pertaining to us, and either harm us physically or outright take our lives. That's why this system can never be reformed. There is no reformation of the American criminal injustice system. There is no reformation of that. There is no reforming American policing because it is inherently biased. It is intentionally racist. And there's no correcting that. The only way you can correct it is to kill it with fire, to burn it down to the ground, to the ground. So there's that. Just a story I wanted to point out to y'all. Let me take a quick break here, put it to teeny bit to pause for the cause. Do me a favor, if you're not already giving the video a like, a thumbs up, please do so. I certainly appreciate it. I'm listening to that Alphabet Boys podcast, and the reporter and the host, what's his name? Trevor Aronson. At the end, he always says, "Help us ride the algorithm." So that's what I need y'all to do. I kind of like that phrase. Help us ride the algorithm. Yeah, help us ride the algorithm out this jump. Drop a comment if you give it a thumbs up. No thumbs down though. I didn't even realize, like, on the back end of YouTube, the dislikes actually do show up. Somebody told me that, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to go back there and look. So anyway, so fuck that shit. Anyway, be positive. We do toxic positivity when it comes to supporting the channel. Thumbs up, subscriptions, memberships, comments. Just do the thing, please, and thank you. Where am I going here? Let's stick in Philadelphia, man, because what the fuck is going on in Philly? Infinite content. What is Quaker? See, Quaker. That's what I'm talking about, Quaker. Quaker just ran us some more bucks. That's so kind of you, Quaker. I love that. I'm telling you, I'm so appreciative that you all are who y'all are. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be real, we didn't even we started the fundraiser last week. I did no shows last week. Y'all, I think we're like almost halfway to our goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's love. That is love. I thank y'all so much. Anyway, I'm very grateful. Deeply, deeply appreciative. Let me get to my next story. And this is what I love. I love about all of our viewers, of course, but I love that our white viewers, y'all don't mind that I spend a lot of time complaining about white folks. Y'all, if seriously, if I did not complain about white folks, the fuck would I be talking about? What would this channel be if it's not a grievance grievance platform against whiteness? Not white people per se, whiteness and white supremacy and racism. But anyway, I just like y'all tremendously, quite a bit. Where am I going here? The racism in the schools. This story comes from Franny Francais, because girl, them people was wilding in Portland, in the Portland schools. There's been a number of stories in which black children, and these are recent stories. None of these, of course, are new, because we know when separate but equal was struck down by the Supreme Court eventually, after it had been upheld for 100 years by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was like, separate and unequal. Them niggas don't need books. Them niggas don't need proper schools. Separate and unequal is fine. So when they finally got it together, if we want to even call it that, and allowed integration, to be perfectly honest, it's been a lot of hell for Black students ever since integration was able to go through. And not to say that children who attend school in uh, all Black communities got it all great. They likely do not. But that integrationist experience, that integrationist schooling experience is not to be trifled with. Okay, like it has its own drawbacks and detriments. But hold on, I'm sorry, trying to pull up the article here. I'm not a good staller. Um, but the story that Franny sent me came out of Portland, and it came as a result of the Portland Public School issuing an apology to Black students for failing to notify about a racial attack that took place in a Portland public school. In fact, it took place at a Portland middle school. Pop open that KOIN article for me if you could, Will, because it says Portland Public Schools issues an apology after student endured a racist attack. And I don't like, who is this here? What outlet? KOIN? Yeah, you putting racist attack in quotes is fucking bullshit. Because when you guys hear the attack that the child endured, there's nothing, there's no ambiguity, there's no misreading whether or not it was racist. Okay, so let me pull this up. So here is the incident in question. It says weeks after a family says that their child was targeted in a racially motivated attack at a middle school. This is actually at West Sylvan Middle School. Portland Public Schools issues an apology for the incident and for not alerting the community about the incident. I don't want to talk about the apology. Hold on, let me tell you what happened. So, Raheem Alexander, who was the father of the student, says that his eighth grade son, was accosted by two students in the middle school. In the middle school bathroom. Accosted by two students in the middle school, the school day, there we go, sorry about that, while going to the bathroom, I'm not silly, while going to get a drink of water during class. Mr. Alexander says, quote, they put him up against the wall, they bound his hands behind his back, and they told him that they were doing the George Floyd on him, said Mr. Alexander. They put him face down on the ground with his hands behind his back, and then they proceeded to put a knee into his back. One of the students said to him that now they were going to turn off their body cams and that they were going to wait 20 seconds. End quote. Mr. Alexander says that his family asked the Portland Public School District to send out a letter about the encounter district wide, but says that instead only students from West Sylvan families, or rather families of West Sylvan Middle School, were notified about the incident. And it took them 3 weeks just to hear from the parents of the students involved. Did somebody just run us something? No, they didn't. So as a result of the Portland Public School District not issuing a district-wide warning or notification about this racial incident, the Portland Public School superintendent decided to give an apology to all Black students in the district as a result of them failing to notify everybody. And the apology from the school superintendent notwithstanding, the kind of racial attacks that Black children are still subjected to in the year 2023, this shit could have been 78, 68, 58, 48. Could have been all kinds of shit. Who just ran us some bucks? Christina S. A queen. Come through, come through, queen. Christina says, complain away, Kim. These people need to be called out. I appreciate your support, Christina. Thank you so much for finding us here and for being a part of the Fire Fan. We welcome you and thank you so much for that. Can you guys imagine? Hold on. See, this is why I think Jesus knew what he was doing when he denied. I say denied motherhood, nigga. I turned that shit down. I said, don't call me for that job, God. I don't want that job. But no, I am not nobody's mama for a reason, dog. Because I'd be in jail. I would be in jail. Do you know the restraint it would have taken for me as a whole adult not to beat the shit out of some fucking 12-year-olds, dog? Like, nah, I don't care. Put your book bag down, Matt. Put it down. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. You're gonna bound my child's hands behind his back. You still gonna tell my child you're gonna George Floyd him? I will Jack Johnson your ass. Get up. I will beat up white kids for fun out this bitch. Are you fucking kidding me? Or the alternative, instead of beating the children, you got to tell that kid's mom to come outside. Holden, tell your mother to come outside. Nah. Tell your mother. Tell your mother to come outside. If I can't beat children, their parents will be challenged to some hands. The audacity. Go to the next story if you could there for me, Will, because again, the racism that our children have to deal with on a regular basis within these integrated spaces is very not cool. And to be honest, I really hate that for black kids because truthfully, I was that black kid. I appreciate the level of education that I received in Howard County Public Schools. I do, because I do feel prepared for the world, and most importantly, attending schools where you are the actual and true minority, you get up close and personal white folks experience that people who live in majority non-white places don't get, right? Like that's why I feel very free criticizing white folks, because I know white folks. I know white folks. I've known white folks for a while. And as much as I complain about whiteness and white supremacy, again, I've known white folks up close and long enough to know that not all white folks is racist. That's why I show love, just to let y'all know I'm not here to shit on white people all the time because again, I known good white people. I swear to God, I've known them. But as much as I have known good whites, I have known racist fucking whites, dog. I've known racist whites, and I've encountered them in school. Barbara, thank you so much for your Venmo support. You are wonderful for that, Barbara. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you guys for supporting our fundraiser. We appreciate it. But okay, so in addition to that story that Freddie French sent me coming out of Portland, let's get into the one in Philadelphia. If you could pop up, and some of this is a little a tad bit dated, but these are all interesting stories, and I didn't want to just let them slide. If you could pop up that tweet for me, if you could, Will, regarding the update. And this dickhead who tweeted this, a reporter from Fox 29. Why do I? Oh, because all the rest of them other Philly stations are as bad. I'm like, why do I have all this Fox 29 shit? Because I'm like, oh, right. Channel 6 and the other channel, they all just as bad. So this update, it says the girls involved in another one with these fucking these loose quotation marks racist video. I'm gonna get back to that in a second. Let me just read the content of the tweet. It says, update: girls involved in quote racist video have been expelled from St. Hubert Catholic School for Girls in Philadelphia. In Philadelphia's Holmesburg neighborhood. Is that in Northeast Infinite? Quote: the young women responsible have been identified and are no longer members of the school community, end quote. That's an part of the statement released by the Catholic School for Girls, the St. Hubert Catholic School for Girls in Philadelphia's Holmesburg neighborhood. And that was posted by Fox 29 reporter Keeley. Is his name Stephen Keeley? The fact that this dickhead put racist video in quotation marks is about to be made a little bit more clearer to you all once I show you the video of which I was referring. V! Who is that? Is that Black Magic? Black Magic. Oh, Black Magic. Thank you, Black Magic, for your support, y'all. Thank you. We're gonna be able to pay Verizon. Thank y'all for the high speed internet. Let's go. Thank you, V. Thank you, baby. So let's run the video, and you guys will very clearly see why, for that reporter to put racist video in quotation marks, is why we need more diversity in fucking newsrooms. But I'll let y'all see this for yourself. So let's talk about this video. And okay, yeah, let's just show the video and I'll come back and talk about it.
You're a black girl. You know your roots. It's February.
Your mom is never letting anyone in.
You're nothing but a slave. And after this, you're doing my laundry.
The way she just takes this shit, bro.
I'm black and I'm proud.
My mom just texted me.
What if she said?
Oh, I love the fact that blackface and racism. Oh, it's so funny. It's so hilarious. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. I don't even mind white people being racist. They want to be racist amongst themselves. That's fine. Trust me, amongst ourselves, them white jokes get told. Okay, we get them white jokes off. Okay, now, mind you, in all my years of joking white folks and whiteness, I have never not once put white on my face. I have never tried to white face it up in order to get my point across about whatever it is I'm trying to convey about whiteness and white people. I've never done whiteface. I don't even think the reverse of blackface even exists, because black people are like, the fuck would I want to do that for? White face for what? Who just ran us some butts? Peace, Reginald. We appreciate your super chat support. Here we go. Reginald says in his super chat, he said they created. Oh, where'd that go? It said, oh, no, it went away. No, come back. There we go. It said they created the school suspension to prepare us for jail. Say that, Reginald. Because I got suspended from school several times. We'll get into that in a second. But hold on. So the context about this video, okay, it's not even so much that the white girls want to do blackface and shoot videos and hee ha ha. Oh my God, you black girl, you have such an attitude, and it's February, it's Black History Month. And okay, fine. Becky, racism them up. It's fine. But this is the problem. So that video was posted on Twitter by a woman. And let me read the content of her tweet. And this person says, let's talk about the white girls at St. Hubert's and Franklin Town in Northeast Philadelphia who want to send racist Snapchats to my god sister and to the other young black girls at the school. Since the school doesn't want to do anything, I decided to blast their faces. Okay, that is how those young Becky racists ended up being expelled from St. Hubert's Catholic School for Girls. Not because of the video that they sent, not because that the black students who were being sent these videos complained to school administrators, which I believe that they did. It was only because of social media that these girls were exposed. The school administration was exposed, not only for being racist, but for actively tolerating racists. And but for the public condemnation and shame that rained down upon St. Hubert's Catholic School for Girls, was any action ever taken? And that is unfortunate, and it is part and parcel of the fake liberal politics, that fake liberal non-racist, I don't see color. Oh, well, they're just being ignorant. Keisha, don't worry about it. Just ignore it. Maybe don't like them on Snapchat, or don't be their friend on, like, all of the reasons, all of the excuses that are given to white children when they are being actively abusive and racist towards black kids, and I'll say brown kids, because it's not just black kids who catch it in all white schools. The Asian kids catch it, the Latino kids catch it, Southeast Asian kids catch it. They all fucking catch it. Non-whites catch it in all white schools, regardless of their racial identity. But certainly there is a specific animus and anti-blackness that black students receive. And the fact that it's 2023 and black students who attend majority white schools still have to endure this tells me a couple of things. Number one, it tells me that these white kids in the 21st century are absolutely still being socialized and conditioned into white supremacy. Okay. Now, I don't know whether or not the parents or the families of those young girls encouraged them somehow to do blackface and to antagonize and abuse their black peers, but somebody must have given them permission to do so. They learned it from somewhere. Possibly they picked it up via social cues and perhaps the area in Philadelphia in which they were raised in Northeast Philly. Like Philly, again, great city. Philly, racist as shit. Make no mistake about it. And I love the shit out of Philadelphia, but everybody knows certain parts of Northeast, certain parts of South Philly, racist. They be big time racist. And I can only imagine what the racism looks like now with the gentrification. Thank you, Sweary Ferry. Racism is fine. Just don't give us bad press. Thank you, Sweary Ferry. Sweary Ferry. Isn't that basically it? Isn't that basically it? The school started to receive public flack, bad press, got picked up by Fox 29, and I'm sure a number of other local media outlets. So now it needs to be addressed. Now they have to show that we don't tolerate racism in this community. No, the fuck you did. Yes, you did. You tolerated it until the word got out. Oh, and now you don't tolerate it. Oh, okay, got you. I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. Um, and what do you think that's like for the black students who attend those schools, who are subjected to those kinds of things? I can't remember. Again, I did get called a nigga a couple of times in high school. I think I told y'all this. The one time the girl called me a nigga by accident, and I know it was an accident, but again, she had been socialized to look at me as a nigga, and it slipped out. She did not, with intent and malice, call me a nigger, but she called me a nigger. She did call me a nigger. She absolutely called me a nigger, and she bust out into tears immediately after it left her lips. Right, and strangely, again, I got called the racial slur, but I felt bad for her because I understood where that came from. And I didn't go give her a hug or nothing, no goofy shit like that. Like, like it wasn't fine. It wasn't cool. But I was not interested in making it physical because she was already crying. What the fuck? You supposed to punch a white girl who's already crying, dog? They would have called the police on me so fast. They would have. I would have been locked up. Anyway, regardless. So anyway, I endured and was subjected to some racism going to an all white school. But it's just wild to me that this is just an accepted part of the black student experience when you're attending all white schools. Like, you should expect racism, right? Like, you should prepare yourself for racism. Parents should be preparing their children um for the very high possibility of still encountering racism in the classroom from their peers or even from their teachers in the year 2023. A fucking madness, a madness. And it's a pathology, y'all. I don't know what it is. I mean, anyway, the need to mock black people and black culture. And this doesn't just come from whites, by the way. It comes from a lot of other races. I saw a video and I actually meant to pull it because I wanted to just point out the ridiculousness of non black people assuming a black scent, particularly on social media when they want to convey how tough they are or when they. I'm sick of the haters. You know, I seen this Asian kid go all in. I'm like, are you from? Where are you from? Like, I mean, American or no, your parents didn't speak that way. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, you know what? I'm ready to move on because I gotta go. I gotta turn Will loose here at some point. And you know what, Will? I'm gonna turn you loose here. If Comrade Kwame is watching, Comrade Kwame, I'm gonna do that story on Friday. Because it is a very important story pertaining to the black man who was beaten and waterboarded while his friend was shot in Mississippi by Mississippi police. It's a bit lengthy, and I don't want to hold Will here till quarter to nine, nor do I want to hold you all here. But I just want to say I appreciate you guys showing up tonight and again being very understanding of my absence from the last week and a half. I try not to take time off unless like I'm really sick. And again, while I didn't feel like I was dying, I needed to rest and recuperate. I didn't want to power through perhaps my first COVID infection. Ah! I hope the COVID didn't jump on me. I told Afra I was going to take a COVID test. I have not done that yet, Afra. I'm going to. Maybe I'm afraid of the results, but I will say this: I'm not out here spreading my germs around. I'm wearing a mask when I'm out in public, and I'm trying to limit my interactions with people. So I'm trying to be cognizant of the thing. So guys, maybe we will be on Black Power Media tomorrow. It's just not going to be on YouTube from what I was able to discern from some of the emails. um I think we can still go live on the other platforms that the channel is on. I know the channel is on Rumble. Are they on Twitch too, gang? Does anyone know? So if you have access to one of those other platforms, Rumble I know for certain, Twitch I'm not 100% sure about. You should be able to catch new content being uploaded and streamed from Black Power Media, not on YouTube at least for a week. I meant to include this in my first block, but I know Jared said that the channel submitted an appeal for the channel strike. And I hope YouTube acknowledges that appeal. I hope they overturn their decision to give the channel a strike. I hope YouTube reconsiders its position and understands that it's a very bad look as as a corporate tech overlord. Okay, I don't think to say that about Google is overstating it at all. Google has a lot of influence in these digital streets. YouTube is a very influential platform that Google owns. If they are restricting the ways in which we recount actual facts of history, and if we are precluded from calling things things, if we can't say that, for example, there were many massacres committed by the United States military in Vietnam, in Iraq, in Afghanistan. I mean, are people's channels going to be yanked for stating the actual facts? The United States military drones people's funerals, people's wedding parties. United States itself supports an apartheid state in Israel against Palestinians. Like these things are facts. Like this shit is not even in dispute. Like if people can't even state the facts anymore without being punished punitively with censorship, we're further along in the fascism than I thought. The silly me, tricks are for kids, silly me. But that is cause for alarm. Fuck concern, it's cause for outright alarm. And I hope YouTube and Google by extension reconsiders their decisions and is more cognizant of the ways in which they punish speech, particularly coming from Black folks. Because guess what? The speech of Black folks has been punished and censored for a very long time. And Google should not continue in that very long and decidedly American tradition of silencing the Black left. So that's it. Gang, thank you all so much for your support. Thank you so much to my mods. I see you in here, Chuck Diesel. What's up, Courtney? I don't know if Courtney's in here. I didn't see Courtney, but big up to Courtney always. Big up to Latif always. Big up to Stren. Big up to Sugar Shan. Thank you so much for your support, babe. Hey, baby, there go my baby, Vesper X. Vesper. I see Big Teal. I see Donnie in here. Donnie, thanks for coming out to the AMA. The AMA was a hot mess because I should have did the fucking AMA tonight, not last night, but I wasn't thinking. Smoke a lot of marijuana. Quaker, I love you to death. Thank you so much for your support. Peace, James. Love you, James. Who else is in here? My people, them. It's more people in there than when I just shot. I'm just a little late with the scroll. Of course, Franny Francais, always. Swarry Fowie, thank you so much. Big up to Jersey in the house. I love it. So thank you all so much for coming through. And we'll see you back here Friday, so long as the creek don't rise. Thanks, Infinite Content, for your support. Thank you, Jules. Yep. All right. Thanks, Mom. My mama's watching. Appreciate to Will and Molly, guys. Hey, y'all. COVID is still out here jumping to people. Apparently, it jumped on me. And I wear my mask and I wash my hands and I social distance. And I think the shit still jumped on me. So please, please keep in mind that we are still in the middle of a pandemic. So do what you can do to keep yourself safe and people in your community and your loved ones and friends and family and whatever safe. So good night, everybody. See y'all back Friday. See y'all later. Bye-bye.